Your breath is the key to everything. And I was thinking, right, because nowadays everybody is, let's say you're going to the gym and you see these people doing all these smelling salts and things like that, right? Those things are not even really necessary, because if you naturally, you can put your body in a state, because all oxygen does, right, is give information to the body. So the way you breathe let the body know, like, yo, okay, raise our heartbeat, contract our muscles, or or relax the muscles. That's all what's controlled through the flow of breath. And that's why breath is so powerful. And breath comes in all type of forms. I think everybody nowadays heard about Wim Hof, right? Wim Hof has his breathing methods, and through that he is able to adapt his nervous system and put his nervous system in such a controlled state that he can put his body in like these cold temperatures. Why? Because through his breath he can control his entire nervous system. That's why, like reptiles, right? Reptiles are cold-blooded animals, and they can slow their heart down to the point that they can freeze themselves in, right? And are kinda just one small little heartbeat away of being dead. But because the heartbeat just stays, right, they can, months later, they can unfreeze themselves. That's what's happening with alligators, turtles, and things like that, right? That's what they are doing, and they're never really dead. They're always alive, but it's just the heart rhythm is so low, and that's all, of course, because of breathing and things like that, right? But for humans, right, we as humans, we have the ability to control our breath, right, in a way like no other living being is able to do it. We can think about how we breathe. I can think and give myself commands like, okay, breathe faster, you know, or breathe slowly. That's all. That's all what you need to think about, because the only thing that's truly keeping us alive is our heartbeat, right? And the only thing our heart does is shooting out the information that we breathe through our nose, right? The pure information, oxygen, right? And to come back to the smelling salts, right? Nowadays, people, and I don't blame them, because that's what's being promoted to us, but we're so heavily relying on products, right? And on everything to influence our body, not really realizing that we can influence our body ourselves through natural ways. Like, you can look up Tumo breathing, and that's a way how monks kept themselves warm in crazy mountain snowy climates, right? That's just already showing you how powerful the body can be. But in order to realize your own power, right, you need to practice self-control, because self-control, all it really is you're directing your chakra system. And to not get too spiritual, the chakra system is just your energetical center, right, where everything to you is happening. So all the glands are within this center, right, central nervous system. Your glands are, you know are a part of that, right? And each time when those glands release hormones or whatever, right, they carry information and influence your well-being. And that's why you need to control this, and control what you eat, and control whatever you do with your body, because it influences your personal temple, basically. Because you can see it like this, right? We are born, and when we are born, we are attached to a woman, and that's how we get our energy, right? That's how we get our divine energy from, right? That's where we get the divine energy from. which eventually we eventually grow out of the woman. We come out of the woman, the and the umbilical cord is no longer attached, and that's when we are separated from that divine energy, and it gets stuck in our own body, right? That's how we and that's what make it beautiful, because you are literally a product of your parents, and a lot of people don't realize this, right? And that's why they get into arguments with their parents, because they are basically them but just at a younger age, right? Many people are stuck in anger towards their parents, but they're literally them, right? A seed that your dad shot out, basically, right? A seed that your dad ejected basically into the divine energy, which is the woman, right? Into the divine energy, and it created you. And you could basically see that as like a star exploding and creating a planet, which becomes to be you, right? On a human level. So that's just beautiful. But that energy gets trapped, right, into your body. And yesterday I was writing, right, when you're born, you're a baby and your head is open. So what happens is your heart beats and it comes out of your head immediately. So that's also why I think babies don't have no consciousness as how we have it, right, at a later age, because their head is still open, so the energy goes out of their head, and it doesn't stay in the body. And eventually the skull, right, it grows closed, and what happens is the rhythm, that the energy, the vibration that the heart creates can no longer escape out of the head, because it makes sense, right? The head is now closed. So what happens is that energy, it still travels up, but instead of going out of the head, out of the opening in the head, instead of flowing out of that, now it needs to go into a circuit, which is the brain. And that's why also the brain has all these grooves, because once your skull grows closed, the energy goes into there, and it goes into the grooves, and the energy flowing through a system creates all these effects, and that's what we start calling consciousness and things like that, right? And that's just showing you that this is powerful. Whatever you have here is basically everything that is to you. And that's why fasting and things like that are so powerful, because what you do when you fast, you don't intake anything, and that's our default state, because everything that we basically eat is necessary for survival, but it's still an outside product. So whenever we eat, right, we're supposed to eat something that is basically we should basically eat from ourselves, because humans, we come from nature, right? That's already evolutionary. We've come from nature, we come from earth, right? So we're supposed to eat from earth, and through that we keep our energy balanced, because what you're basically doing is you're eating yourself, basically. So each time when you eat natural products, you eat yourself, because all fruits, all natural foods contain energy, right? Which is eventually the same thing that you're made out of, right? And you eat it, and it comes in here, right? And it influences these glands, right? And and the food carries energy, which tells the glands, okay, release this hormone, release that, right? And that releasing, once that hormone is released, it creates a human experience, right? When adrenaline is released, you experience the human experience of flight or flight system, or so it really shapes your experience. And that's why it's also sometimes so important to go it out on all levels, right? So on all levels of your chakra system and all, and allowing all glands to restore themselves so that you can find out, like, okay, what is my body saying and what is my body telling when I'm not under basically the influence. That's also why it's so funny, right? It's already in all these words. You're under the influence of something, right? You're under the influence, right? So yourself is under, is being influenced by something from the outside world, right? And that's why whatever we intake is so powerful, because if you intake the wrong shit, you can literally die. If you right now decide to eat the wrong thing, and it contains the wrong thing, then you know you will end up dying. So that already shows how powerful those things are and how aware you need to be of those things. But I think I'm gonna keep this video kind of short, right? I just want to show the importance, basically, to know about your body, right? You need to know about your body, because your body, right, it just represents everything on life. Just if you understand your body, and don't get caught up on the names, because it's not about learning what each muscle is named out of. It's learning about the body through understanding life. Because if you understand how life, 7 systems, we got like 7 planets, right? And they traveling through a system and things like that, right? I don't know if we got 7 planets, but we got like the uh we got the constellation system. We got we got our constellation system. We got our, basically, also the internet. We got network layers, right? And they're all contained out of 7 steps, and that also represents our body. That's how basically how we know that consciousness takes place, right? Through these 7 layers that all influence energy coming through the system. So basically, planets just shaped how our bodies are shaped, right? It's just energy flowing through that systems, and that creates an expression through planets and things like that, right? Because planets also grow, so it makes sense that planets grow through the same systems, how basically everything on life grows. And that's why systems in whatever you do are so important, because systems make sure that whatever you do can happen on a bigger level. Because I think what happens is, like, human nature, nature just, consciousness is just consciousness, just, the energy source is just always, the point of it is always to create, right? Procreate. So I think what happens is just how we have consciousness now, right? And we naturally, we think about our problems, right? And we improve. But our energy is not any different from the outside energy. So it makes sense that whatever is going on around us, and what we can't see, and what we give the label of life, and all and the universe, it makes sense that that energy also continuously procreates and improves, and tries to become a bigger, a better version of itself, right? And that's what we do through systems. Whenever something works in a business, you systemize it, right? Because you want to have that experience more often, so you do it more often. That's what habits are. Habits are just systemized behavior. Beliefs are systemized thinking patterns. That's how we make sense of life, right? We have beliefs so that we trying to guide us, right? We have beliefs that we think are best for us at this moment, and through that, the energy flows through our brain, and instead of being distracted through all by all type of thoughts, we automatically run our beliefs to protect ourselves. Like, okay, no, this is what I believe, this is what I need to act upon. And that can be good, but that can also be bad, right? So what I just want to make you understand is just how I always think about life, and how phenomena, right, is always how we're not that different from basically nothing, right? If you think about animals, right, it's just the same thing. They just have a different body, which makes the experience, right, different for that animal, and a different they have a different system where the energy flows through, right? Their spine is different and all those type of things. Some animals don't even have a spine, and there's difference in like difference of levels of consciousness are also represented in animals, right? We got apes that can do great thinking, and then we got lower level animals that also can do great thinking, such as, I don't know even really if they think, but ants. They're definitely acting on a well improved consciousness, like on a, they know what they're doing, even though they're so small. So consciousness comes in all type of forms, right? The smallest birds have the biggest, nicest rituals. So, but I'm going all I'm going onto a lot of topics, but try to remember the main topics, right? That your body is a system. It's like an energy circuit, and that energy circuit consists out of your entire central nervous system, right? Your brains is like the brain contains the grooves where the energy flows through and does perform logic and do the thinking, and then it's expressed in the body, right? It's expressed in the body, and it sends down a signal, right? It sends down a signal. The brain sends down a signal to the body, but that signal eventually also needs to travel up, right? And that's why we have our spine, and our breathing is also happening through that way. It same with our flow of our blood, right? It goes up and then it goes back. It goes down to go back up again, right? And start the rhythm again. So we're just a circuit. We're just a system where energy flows through, and based on our systems in our body, it's being influenced. But our body systems we cannot influence. We have no experience. You cannot change your glands, right? Maybe in some next level reality, maybe with some crazy computer shit, and go to doctors, perform crazy operations. But you know what I mean, right? You're not supposed to do that, right? That's something bigger than you. People still don't truly know how the human body works, so I don't think you're truly meant to change it, right? When it's not done out of a reason to heal somebody. So we have all these systems, right? We have these systems, and through those systems we are being influenced, and it's always in our best interest to control this entire system that we call our body, right? Our central nervous system. And the only way how we can do that is through our thinking, because it's a fact that you will always get hungry, you will always get horny, right? You will always have certain tendencies that are just above your human nature. They need to take place into you. So you need to start thinking about what you're gonna put in your body, because you know already, like, okay, you need to eat, right? So if you make the choice that you're always gonna eat bad, right, then you're gonna do that on a big level because you need to eat, right? If bad food is the way how you satisfy your stomach's hunger, then you always do that through that vehicle, and through that, just by doing that, your thinking will be influenced, right? Because you're putting new energy, new information in your body, and if that consists out of whatever bullshit, then you won't be able to do the proper thinking, because you it's energy, right? So if this energy, you put some unnatural things in your body, your energy system weakens, right? And then boom, it flows up here, but now it's weaker, so now it's not really traveling as well through through this circuit that we call our brain, right? All these grooves that we have, right? Where energy just flows through. That's also, that's that's the only reason why I believe our brain looks like that, right? Like a sponge, like all these circuits, like, And if you look at it, like they found all these ancient, like the Mayans, right? They had like these big ass stones that they put, which it creates a system. Nobody understands it, but it's really made for sun, right? For energy to travel through, to keep heat, right? To store heat. That's basically all the brain does. It stores energy, it stores heat, it stores that vibration, so, and we perform logic with it. Logic is just everything that's within the system, because it's logic. It's logic that your body releases. It's logic that your body releases certain certain hormones when it's being influenced in a certain way, because that's just the logic of your body. How that's what your system is made out of, right? The human system is made to release dopamine when when it's influenced a certain way by a certain food, or you know what I mean. So that's just human body logic, but we can always influence that by applying our own logic, which is our thinking, which is the only thing that we can truly control, right? You can, because like I've said, like, you will always get hungry, but you can always control how you will think about hungry. If you think about hungry and you're like, oh no, I need to eat, and you're in panic, and now you run to the store and buy the the whatever you want to eat, right? Then it's just, that's just, now you're just like escaping it and no longer doing your own thinking, because you're being led by this instead of leading from here and thinking like, do I want to eat now? I kind of ate like 2-3 hours ago, so I'm probably not really that hungry, you know so that's just, you know remember that we got a system, and you're the controller of the system. You control the system. You control, right, what flows up and what flows down. You're doing the thinking, right? The body shoots up and tells you, yo, I'm hungry. You can control, like, are we gonna eat healthy, or we're gonna eat bad, or no, we need to do some things right now, so we're not gonna eat for we might eat an hour later. You need to do the thinking and provide your logic. And also the thinking is also happening through systems, because that's what I'm saying, right? Everything that works becomes a system. So these bad habits that you have became a system, a systemized way of dealing with phenomena that you experience here. So let's say you experience something by your heart, and then now you have fear. Now you, okay, now I need to do this to escape that fear, right? That's just all things that are happening within the body, because you're not thinking about what's happening here, right? There's nothing to escape really, because escaping can never be done. You're always alone. You're always with yourself. I can now get a bad thought and escape by doing whatever, right? Start eating whatever, but I'm still alone. It's not like only thing changed is I'm no longer thinking about it, and I'm no longer thinking about it because I'm influencing myself with the Snicker because I'm basically scared to do my own thinking. I let the Snicker do the thinking for me, and I let the Snicker influence my glands and release certain things so that I feel a certain way, but it's not really the feeling that I needed to feel when I was thinking, right? Because that's also with bad thoughts, bro. Bad thoughts are just the 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 dark part of you, your lower part of you, right? Where we have shame and all these things, right? That's just our lower part, but it's still a part of you, and that's why you always need to listen to yourself, and self acceptance is the key to whatever you want to do because your lower part is still a part of you, right? So if you don't accept your lower part, then it will always create chaos and influences your higher part, your thinking, and that's how you become stuck here because you 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 become aware of your lower part, right? Your dark part, your all your fears, all your whatever, right? And then you be all the thing that you're shameful of, right? And then you become aware of it, but because you don't do a proper amount of thinking, you get stuck here because that's where the level that you escape your problems, right? So that was just the video, right? My phone is also kind of dying, so I want to thank you for watching. You know, keep keep whatever I said in mind and think about it for yourself, see if it applies to you, and thank you for watching.